Chapter 16, New World Disorder. Pika seemed to be a world within a world. It only had one large landmass which lay primarily in the northern latitude and therefore was on the cold side with long winters and short summers. Most Pika-Lycians didn't live on the large landmass but resided instead on one of the tens of thousands of islands that went around the world, all on or not too far from the equator. Each island had at least one dairy farm, and I decided that the best way to get to each one was to use the SPNV. I would carry a sleeping bag, grabbing some shut-eye on a catch-as-catch-can basis. Pika was 85% water compared to Earth at 71%. The planet itself is about the same size of Earth, and that should give you an idea of how much land the one large landmass an island took up. The administrative center of Pika is located in one building on an island that's 2 miles long and a half-mile wide. It must have been an efficient operation because it only had 3 employees. The day I stopped there to check in with the Pika governmental authority, there was only 1 employee at work. The other 2 were out fishing. Had to wave down the employee because he was cutting the grass. He seemed a little annoyed by my sudden appearance. Maybe cutting grass was the highlight of his day. "What can I do for you? Where did you come from, by the way?" He was a young man with a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops. "I just came over from Pukaluka." I showed him my authorization papers. He glanced at them and said, "They look good," and went back to cutting grass. There was a dairy farm at the end of the island, and I walked there in the tropical air. This may be the most laid-back planet I'd ever visited. I would have to be careful not to intentionally stretch out my inspection tour of the dairy farms. Well, what's an extra year or 2 in the grand scheme of things? Pika is the middle of the 3 planets. While it does have dairy farming, I could see it moving in the direction of lucidity. In other words, losing the dairy business might not be that big a deal to the inhabitants. But that's not for me to decide. To be fair to the hard-working dairy farmers of Pika, I would need to do the job I came here to do and thoroughly investigate each and every Pika-Lycian dairy farm. No Hawaiian shirts or flip-flops for me. It was a memorable 7-year inspection tour. I didn't drink a lot of milk or eat much ice cream, but the fish and shellfish I ate were superb. The natives were very friendly also, and frankly, didn't seem too concerned about the fate of the Pika dairy products' future. If I ever take a real vacation, I know where to go. Chapter 17. Ex Cathedra. Next stop was the Iota Piscium system, about 45 light years from the solar system. Iota Piscium was where the coveted coffee planet, now officially recognized as finest Colombian, was located. Dadgummit, I would probably fail yet again, but at least I might get a good cup of coffee for my efforts. My transport this time was the Syrian Starlight cruiser. Space-time will blow your mind. For a change, it wasn't a cargo freighter. It was instead a diplomatic ship and was carrying Syrian stand-up comedians around to the various worlds in an effort to improve people's opinions of the Syrians. I asked the captain, Molly Metro, how the trip was going so far. "It ain't Bob Hope, I can tell you that. And as a Syrian myself, I'm having trouble digesting this. Did you know that some Syrians go 1,000 years or more without cracking a smile?" I did know. "Who's writing the material? You can't be funny without good material." Molly replied, "I think they're using an artificial intelligence program called Okie Dokie Grokey. Have you heard of it?" "I can't say that I have. I try to write my own material." Landing on finest Colombian, I utilized my SPNV to take me to the home of an old friend and fellow TPE, Phineas Cope. He had been retired for quite some time and was living on a coffee plantation approximately 5,000 miles from where I stepped off the Star Cruiser. Many in the TPE racket consider Phineas the greatest TPE in the history of theological private eyeing. He had done some amazing things, made some unbelievable escapes, and faced and defeated evil of all kinds with great courage and equanimity. But I can't tell you about his exploits. It's all classified material. His wife of many years, Leandra by the Sea, brought in what I'd been looking forward to since I'd debarked on Finest Columbia. It was a pot of coffee brewed for maximum flavor with beans developed especially by Phineas on his coffee plantation. I took my first sip, and I must say I wasn't disappointed. Phineas asked me, "How's the mission going?" Phineas kept up with his TPE activities by subscribing to the TPE Daily Photon, a publication originated somewhere on Earth. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I would have to say, on the whole, it was about 25% accurate, which was about 24% more accurate than most of the intergalactic media. The TPE Daily Photon was founded by Misinformation, a former acquaintance of mine, several millennia back. It's going good right now because I'm drinking your coffee. Otherwise, I'm drawing a blank. Any helpful suggestions from an old TPE codger? Phineas laughed and said, "People will remember me for my successes, but I could have just as easily been remembered for my failures." "I know all about your failures, but you're still number one in my book," Leandra by the Sea said with a twinkle in her eye. I said to Phineas, "I guess that means you don't have any suggestions." "Only one. Don't give up." Chapter 18, Jokes and Smokes. That night, back in the capital city of Finest Columbia, I made a spur-of-the-moment decision and went to the local comedy club, Coffee on the Lighter Side, where the Syrian cadre of comedians were doing stand-up. It was about what I thought it would be. The jokes were on the order of, "Did you hear the one about the Syrian freighter captain, Centauri, an oligarch, and benevolent dictator who happened to be stranded together in a dimension of neither time nor space?" I won't give away the punchline because I don't remember it, and that was probably the funniest joke of the night. Captain Molly was sitting 2 tables across from me, and the pain on her face was palpable. Feeling sorry for her, I went over to her table and offered my condolences. She seemed to appreciate my show of sympathy. I couldn't resist telling her, maybe you should hire some real comedy writers. I know some writers who just left Saturday Night Live and are wanting to do real satire again. I gave her a card with their contact information. When I left, her eyes looked a little less desperate. Leaving the comedy club, I strolled down to a cafe called Coffee and Clams. Waiting for me was the benevolent dictator, Frick Fontaine. He sent me a note saying he had some exciting news he wanted to share with me. We shook hands and he invited me to sit down. We then each ordered a large plate of clams, cabbage, and corn. It was the national dish and was known by the locals as Claycaco. Of course, we washed it all down with several cups of Finest Colombian. During the meal, Frick told me his big news. "I just got here from your old stomping grounds." "You mean Earth?" As much as I loved the place, it wasn't exactly the tourist hotspot of the galaxy. Frick must have gone there to hatch some sort of big-time deal. It turned out I was right. I went to Cuba and secured intergalactic rights to sell Cuban cigars. They've been eager to do so ever since the Syrians barred the selling of tobacco on Earth. I signed a deal with none other than Justin Castro, current kingpin of the Cuban-Canada Federation. You do know the Canada part is just window dressing. The former country known as Canada has been part of the United States of North America for over 10,000 years. I looked straight at Frick when I spoke. I wanted to make sure we were playing in the same ballpark. "Oh yeah, I read my history. After Canada was absorbed into the American Empire, some Canadian rebels moved to Cuba to conquer it and renamed it Havana, Canada City. That's how they're able to legitimately call it the Cuba-Canada Federation. Frank took a bite of Claqueco and resumed talking. I didn't say anything. I wasn't there to smash delusions or shatter dreams. I was there to do business. And man, did I hit the mother lode. The benevolent dictator was feeling his oats. I can't say that I blame him.